What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back for another Pokemon challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Radical Red 4.0 and today's challenge will be can I beat Pokemon Radical Red 4.0 using our mono region wheel this time. And of course we got one of 4 regions left. I'm not sure if I'm going to do Sevi Islands just yet, but I might have to. And we got Kanto ironically for this one. For some reason I thought I did Kanto already on this, so I was like very confused. I went through my previous weeks and confirm it, and lucky enough we did not do Kanto just yet, so we're new Kanto for this week's Radical Red video. But besides that, I want to add a fun rule to this challenge though. Each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments, so thanks so much for leaving a comment in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after a future Pokemon, just drop in the comments and hopefully our pictures. And while it's down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, it means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. So to begin off, we're gonna have to do our first starter stuff. We got a Bulbasaur. I think the Bulbasaur line is gonna be the best for the first 2 gyms in the game, which I think might be the hardest part of the game, because you have to get set up, use the basic Pokemon around you to get set up, and then once the map opens up, you have a lot more options for your team, so your team is gonna be generally better in the late game. That's why I feel like the late game is actually way easier than like the middle game of Radical Red. But besides that, we can go into the first few routes and get the best Pokemon we can. We got Rattata, so you can see how far in the trenches we are. Raticate actually did pretty well, as you see in our first few trainer fights against this NPC that gives us tool for infinite repels, and also we face off against this bug trainer to get ourselves into Pewter City. Now once we're in Pewter City, we actually gave up with the Egg Merchant. They gave us nothing, so we decided to face off against Faulkner next, and Faulkner's a pretty easy fight. Once we beat Faulkner though, he actually allows us access into the first gym in the game, so that's exactly where we're going. So we're going to face off against Brock. We're going to start the battle off against Brock using my Ivysaur against Brock's Hippopotas, and then he's going to switch out into his Lunatone. I get a few attacks off against him with Magically, but eventually his Lunatone's going to knock me out as I go out into my Raticate, which will actually catch the leap as he switched out, and I'm going to go out to my Mankey next. Mankey's able to chip down the leap, eventually knock him out, and unfortunately from there I knock out the leap, but his Cacnea is going to knock me out. My Raticate's in the back though, is able to knock out the Cacnea and do some damage against the Vroom for us, which is really nice. From there, I'm going to switch out into my Kadabra, which would knock out the Vroom for us. And then from there, I could chip down the Hippopotas, actually knock him out with my Kadabra as he goes down to the Toxic. But his final Pokemon will be his Arkin, which I'm going to go out to my Geodude to Rock Tomb and knock out Arkin and his Lunatone. So we're able to beat down Brock and get our first gym badge of the game, which is really nice. From there, we're going to move on into Mount Moon and Route 4, which aren't too difficult of an area. We actually get Magikarp, evolve it into Gyarados as we make our way into Mount Moon and face off against the scientists over here. Nothing too difficult over here, as Raticate has Guts as an ability, so we actually welcome the burn. From there, we're going to face off against Archer, which isn't too difficult either. As we clear through him, we're going to make our way into Sabrina City, which we're going to face off against Misty next. Misty's going to be the water type gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Kadabra, which actually was not the best play, I don't think, but I guess is actually a way to just force out the Raticate into the Mantine, get myself burned against the Mantine, and just Hyper Fang and Sucker Punch it to knock out the Mantine, which is actually a crazy combo. From there, you can switch out into your Ludicolo, which I Sucker Punch, get some chip damage. Go to my Primate to sack it against the Ludicolo. Okay, I'll take that as I go out to my Gyarados next, thrash it and knock him out. From there, you can switch out to your Starmie, which sacrifice my Gyarados too, and then go out to my Graveler, which will... Okay, I thought I was getting self-destruct or something. I did not. I just Rock Tomb and Sucker Punch, go out to my Kadabra to knock out the Starmie, and then from there, you can switch out to your Clockstar. I go out to my Ivysaur to Sleep Powder into him, and then catch the Toxicroak on accident. So I'm gonna go out to my Kadabra as she goes for Swords Dance. So since I actually outspeed him, I'm assuming she's gonna go for Sucker Punch. As I go for a disable Sucker Punch in that moment, and then go for a Psybeam to knock him out. As from there, her next Pokemon will be a Politoed, which I knock out in 2 shots, and a Clockstar, which I knock out in 3 shots, as we beat down Misty and get ourselves the second gym badge in the game. Now from there, we're going to make our way into the Nugget Bridge and then clear through the Nugget Bridge and the Team Rocket members out here. There's not much for us to do here as we make our way into the SSN, clear through the SSN and Brendan on here, and face off against the next gym leader in the game. We're going to face off against Lieutenant Surge next. Lieutenant Surge is going to be the 3rd gym leader in the game, and we're going to start the battle off against him using my Graveler to Rock him twice into his Rotom Frost and eventually knock him out with my Sturdy. From there, he's going to switch out to his Ampharos, which I got to my Gyarados, which somehow works as he's going to knock me out. And switch that into his Electrode. I go out to my Venusaur to bait the explosion into my Graveler, so I sacrifice my 1 HP Graveler for a Pokemon, and then I go back into my Venusaur, catch the Raichu with a Sludge Bomb as he goes for a Nasty Plot, go out to my Dark type Arbok in this game, dodge the Side Shock and a Sucker Punch to knock him out, which is huge. His next Pokemon is going to be a Palna as I go out to my Needle King. I dodge the Plasma Fist and then Bulldoze twice to knock out the Palna. And also his final opponent will be in Hitmonlee. I go out into my Venusaur to chip him down with 2 Sludge Bombs to knock him out. Oh wait, he has the Ampharos in the back, which we chip down again. And from there, my Raticate will knock him out as we beat down Lieutenant Surge pretty easily. So we're clearing through the gyms pretty nicely as we make our way into the Rock Tunnel. Cleared through the Rock Tunnel with my decent team. We got Aerodactyl by reviving the fossil that we got. And then from there, we can make our way into Lavender Town, face off against this trainer over here with Misty Explosion Sylveon, and face off against the Hisuian trainer, which, you know what, we're gonna have to use Hisuian Pokemon eventually. So I'm really not looking forward to that. There's a very limited amount of Pokemon we can use. But from there, we can make our way into Celadon City, where we can get a bunch of items to evolve our Pokemon. So we get ourselves an Alakazam, Arcanine, Golem, all great Pokemon. As from there, we're gonna move on and face off against Erica next. Now, Erica's the 4th gym leader in the game. We're gonna start the battle off against her using my Aerodactyl to Iron Head into her Cradily. Unfortunately, doesn't really work, as she still gets Stealth Rocks up, and eventually I chip him down, but then she can switch out into her Slowbro. I go out to my Alakazam, get Thunder Wave, which isn't fun, but I do get a Psychic off against him, and eventually chip it down to Red HP, and then from there she can switch out to her Kartana. I hit him with a pretty strong Psychic, so that's actually pretty good. As from there, I'm going out to my Arc, and I force the Kartana out as she goes out to her Hawlucha. I then go out to my Golem. So if I have any move now, even though she's at +2, I still have Sturdy up. Explosion to knock out the Hawlucha, which is great. And then from there, I go out into my Alakazam to bait in anything. Get a free switch in from sacking my Alakazam. Go out to my Venusaur to Sludge Bomb, knock out the Sceptile. And then from there, her next opponent will be a Toxicity. I go out to my Needle King. Pretty bad play, but I do get a Bulldoze off against him, and then go out into my Aerodactyl to Rock Slide and knock out a Toxicity, knock out a Slowbro, and also knock out the Cradily. Her final opponent will be a Kartana. I go out to my Arcanine to load the attack stat of it, and then go out to my Venusaur to knock him out, which is really nice. As we knock out the Kartana, we get ourselves the 4th gym badge in the game, and also a Dratini from the game corner, which is really nice. From there, we're going to move on and face off against Giovanni in the basement of the game corner. And then from there, we're going to make our way into Lavender Town and get ourselves the Pokeflute and make our way into Silphco. We're going to face off against a rival in Silphco. He's not too difficult at all. And then face off against Archer and Ariana, which isn't also too difficult, as finally Brendan decided to want to do something for us. As we beat him down, we're going to face off against Giovanni once again, and Giovanni isn't too difficult as we cleared through him. Now we have access to a lot of new things. We get a Mega Z-Ring, which we can actually Mega Evolve our Pokemon now, and also we have access into Chuck's Dojo, where we face off against him and get ourselves the Focus Sash from him, and we also face off against Sabrina, the 5th gym leader in the game, with infinite Trick Room and infinite Misty Terrain, so we gotta be very careful as we face off against Sabrina using my Persian and also Dragonite. So Dragonite's here to Aqua Tail and knock out the camera up. From there, Persian's able to fake out into the Tapu Fini and force him out into the Magearna, which will actually just get Misty Explosion on by the Tapu Fini. From there, I can go out into my Arcanine and Golem. We're actually going to switch out my Arcanine into my Alakazam to take the Focus Blast from the Magearna. Headlong Rush into him with my Golem to knock out the Magearna. Glacier is doing nothing, so we're fine with that. Sacrifice my Alakazam, which is fine, and then one-shot the Iron Hands with my Golem. Go out into my Arbok against the Jellicent, and then Suck Punch into him. Chip him down twice with both my Golem and Arbok. From there, Glacier is finally set up, but it's only by himself, so we're able to chip him down, just both of us, as we eventually knock out the Glacier and we beat down Sabrina. Get ourselves the 5th gym badge in the game, which is really nice. From there, we can move on into the Cycling Road and face off against the Cycling Road and make our way into Fuchsia City, which isn't too difficult at all. We're also going to face off against Brendan. Brendan's blocking our entrance into the Safari Zone, so we got to beat him down real quick and then make our way into the first 3 gym leaders in the game, as Koga requested us to do. We're going to face off against Brock. We beat Brock on our first try, which actually very impressive. From there, we're going to face off against Misty, and Misty's not too difficult at all. We use Mega Aerodactyl because I think we're just having fun with all the Megas now. But we beat down Misty and face off against Lieutenant Surge. He's not too fun, but lucky enough, we beat him down with a Mega Gengar, which is really nice. And then from there, we can make our way into the next gym in the game. We're going to face off against Koga's gym. We're going to start the battle off against Koga in the Infinite Tailwind and Infinite Psychic Terrain using my Golem. Now Golem's here to force out the Focus Blast, which works out. It missed the Focus Blast. Heavy Slam to knock out the Lele. From there, he can switch out to his Toxicity for some reason. Okay, I'm just gonna take any attack, and then I take his Hidden Power Grass and I go for a Headlong Rush to knock him out. His next opponent was gonna be Shiyu. I sacrifice my Golem obviously, and then go out to my Gyarados, which will actually Aqua Tail into him, and then from there he decides to just switch up his move to Hidden Power, lets me live, and then I knock him out. So from there, I can scout his next Pokemon, which is going to be a Hoopa Unbound. I go out to my Butterfree, yes, Butterfree with Focus Sash, Butterfree's able to one-shot the Hoopa Unbound with a Bug Buzz, and then from there, the Nidoking comes out. It's gonna knock me out, but I go out to my Snorlax, which will high horsepower into his Crocodile on accident, but that's not the best play. I go out to my Arcanine to sack it against the Crocodile. Might be a stupid play as I go out to my Venusaur, but luckily enough, Venusaur is able to survive a Wicked Blow. Chloroblast to knock out the Crocodile, and finally, his last Pokemon will be the Nidoking in the back. I do have my Snorlax. I have high horsepower and also counter, so we're able to knock out the Nidoking as easy as we want. So we beat down Koga, and we can make our way into the next portion of the game. So I always call Koga the halfway point. That's where I do a lot of splits in my recording. You're in the later stages, but honestly, that's definitely the middle part. Either Koga or Blaine is the middle part, or the halfway point of the game. But either way, we're gonna make our way into Seafoam Island and get ourselves the Choice Scarf from Blaine, and then face off against Price, and then from there we're gonna make our way into Blaine's gym next. Blaine's gym is gonna be pretty decent as we clear through all the trainers in here. We got ourselves a Zapdos, which I didn't really mention, but we got ourselves a Zapdos, pretty cool. From there we're gonna move on and face off against Blaine himself. We're gonna start the battle off against Blaine, Fire type gym leader, with my Venusaur, because Venusaur has Chlorophyll as an ability which doubles my speed, so that means I'm pretty fast. I go for a Sleep Powder as he switched out to his Ho-Oh, which you know what? It works out. I go out to my Golem next. I'm going to try to Rock Blast him as he goes out to his Walking Wake. It doesn't seem too bad as I actually chip him down to about half HP. Go out to my Snorlax, and then fortunately he doubles into his Great Tusk. Super annoying. So I got to switch out to my Venusaur. I barely take a Headlong Rush, and then from there Giga Drain to one-shot him because I outspeed him obviously. From there he switched out to his own Venusaur. I go out to my Dragonite to do Wing Beat and knock him out. From there his next Pokemon will be a Sandy Shock, which I go back out to my Venusaur to Giga Drain twice to the Sandy Shock and knock him out. As his next Pokemon will be a Charizard, I go for a Sludge Bomb and then go out to my Mega Alakazam to one-shot him with my Psychic and knock out a Walking Wake, and then chip down the Ho-Oh with my Alakazam. Eventually knock him out into his Phoenix form. He revives himself, but you know, my team is too solid. Go to my Zapdos to Bolt Beak and knock out the Ho-Oh as we beat down Blaine. Now from there we're going to make our way into Southern Cave. We're going to face off against the Team Rocket members in here. We're going to face off against Archer, and of course Chlorophyll Venusaur comes in handy, and also Alakazam is pretty strong too. From there, once we beat Archer, we're going to face off against Ariana, and she's a lot easier as we make our way in here and beat her down pretty easily. We're going to face off against Giovanni next, and Giovanni on our first attempt gets cooked. So we go out. We actually left him with his Mewtwo at the end, but my Mega Aerodactyl will clean it up pretty easily as we beat down Giovanni, and now we can move on into the final gym in the game. We're going to move on into Clara's gym, and we're going to start the battle off against Clara. Use my Mega Gengar. I'm switching up all the Megas for fun, but I Hypnosis into the Shuckle and then Shadow Ball twice into him. I was expecting him to stay asleep. My intuition just told me to go for Dark Pulse, and it actually flinched at him as he wakes up, and I'm able to knock out the Shuckle, denying any hazards at all, so kind of a broken strategy. From there, I go out into my Dragonite against the Roaring Moon. Doubles into her Magearna. I go out to my Arcanine. She switched out again to her Eternatus. From there, I go out to my Gengar just to stop the switching. I take the Meteor Beam and then Psychic into him to chip him down to low HP. Go out to my Arbok to Suck Punch and knock out the Eternatus. From there, her next Pokemon will be a Magearna. I go out to my Arcanine. She doubles again to Roaring Moon. Super annoying, but I go out to my Dragonite. Take a Scale Shot, kind of not that fun. Extreme Speed will chip him down to low HP. Go out into my Arbok to knock him out. Go out to my Arbok, but he's go back up to the Magearna, but luckily this time I go out to my Arcanine maybe to land a Flare Blitz and knock out the Magearna for us, which is really nice. From there, her next Pokemon will be a Duraludon. Sacrifice my Arcanine, go out to my Golem, knock him out with a Headlong Rush. From there, her next Pokemon will be an Ultra Necrozma. Gonna knock out my Golem, but I have the Arbok in the back for a reason to Suck Punch and knock out the Necrozma, knock out the Roaring Moon. Okay, it didn't even knock out the Roaring Moon, but Zapdos would knock out the Roaring Moon for us as we beat down Claire. And now from there, we're going to move on and face off against a rival in Route 22, which isn't too difficult. It's actually easy to manage because Venusaur has Chlorophyll, and we could chip him down. From there, we face off against Brendan out here, and Brendan's a lot easier than our rival fights. So from there, we beat down Brendan, we make our way into Victory Road, and from there in Victory Road, we get ourselves some choice cards by facing off against the Genesect raids in here. Nothing too difficult. We had Lapras and everything. From there, we're going to make our final adjustments to our team. I actually went through a lot of protocol and a lot of different team structures, but the team I want to use is Alakazam, Zapdos, Dragonite, Golem, Gengar, and Aerodactyl. Now, you can see the Megastone can switch between anyone. I'm just going to primarily put it on my Aerodactyl, but if I do need anyone else for a specific reason, I don't mind switching it off them. So from there, we're gonna move on. Lorelei's gonna use her ice team today, so it's kind of annoying. So we're gonna face off against Lorelei and her ice team, starting the battle off against her using my Alakazam and Gengar. Now we've been at it for a couple minutes. What our best move to do is Focus Blast into Glaceon to make sure we one-shot it, and then with my Gengar to Hypnosis the Landorus, and then from there we could go for Focus Blast once more as we sacrifice my Gengar. Unfortunately, the only thing getting sacrificed is my Alakazam, as the Landorus wakes up on a first turn, U-turns and knock out my Alakazam, as the Shienpao is left with 1 HP. Switch out into my Mega Aerodactyl next to Rock Slide and knock out the Shienpao for us. As from there, the Abomasnow is going to knock out my Gengar. I go out into my Dragonite. We go for a Rock Slide once again and Dragon Rush into the Kyurem, and it works out actually. We knock out the Kyurem, we survive a Blizzard 2, and things are actually looking pretty good. As from there, I'm able to knock out the Abomasnow, Rock Slide into the Fini, as her next Pokemon will be her last Pokemon, a Landorus and Tapu Fini. Sacrifice my Aerodactyl, go out into my Zapdos, Bolt Beak to knock out the Fini, and then from this can knock out my Dragonite, go out into my Golem next, and Golem has to clutch this out for us. Luckily enough, it does, as we beat him down and we beat down Lorelei. Now from there, we're going to move on and face off against Bruno next. Bruno's going to be a lot easier. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Aerodactyl to use Dual Wing Beat against the Infernape. It's going to scare him out into his Necrozma, so I got into my Gengar. I have Focus Sash on, and I can outspeed him, so Shadow Ball twice into him to knock him out. From there, he's going to switch out into Zacian, sacrifice my Gengar, go out to my Golem, Headlong Rush into a Sucker Punch will knock him out like always. And then from there, his next opponent will be a Lucario. He's going to Bullet Punch me, not going to matter, as I go out to my Dragonite. Fire Punch into him twice to knock him out, but he's gonna actually switch out into his Iron Valiant. He outspeeds me and actually outspeeds my entire team. So I got into my Aerodactyl to Iron Head into him. Doesn't work out, he left with 1 HP, so gotta go out into my Dragonite to Extreme Speed and knock out the Iron Valiant, and then chip down a Zeraora with a few Extreme Speeds. Actually 2, and then from there go out to my Alakazam, which was Psychic, and knock out a Zeraora, knock out the Infernape for us. Okay, it didn't knock out the Infernape. Infernape has Focus Sash, but Zapdos in the back with Bolt Beak and knock out the Infernape, and also the Lucario as we beat down Bruno. From there, we can move on and face off against Agatha. Agatha's a pretty easy fight. All we gotta do is Hypnosis into the Crocodile. It stays asleep. We use Energy Ball, and that's all of that. From there, I can predict the Yveltal coming out, so I go to my Zapdos, catch the Yveltal, which is nice, but I'm actually getting Volt Switch, predicting a U-turn, and then from there, I got into my Aerodactyl, and Aerodactyl, it'll catch the Yveltal, Rock Slide to knock him out. As from there, he's gonna switch up to his Calyrex. I go out into my Alakazam to sack it, and then take Expanding Force, Shadow Ball to knock him out. Crazy events. As her next Pokemon will be a Mewtwo X, Shadow Ball into him to half HP, and then go out into my Aerodactyl, knock him out with Dual Wing Beat, and from there her next Pokemon will be a Victini. I go for a Rock Slide, it flinches, and then it's all over. So Victini goes down, I go for Dual Wing Beat against the Crocodile, and from there her last Pokemon will be a Flutter Mane, which I go for Iron Head. Doesn't work out, but I still got everyone else in the back, so eventually someone's gonna knock him out, as my Zapdos does, and we beat down Agatha. Now we can move on. We can move on and face off against Lance next. Lance is going to be the 4th Elite Four member in the game. All we gotta do, land a Hypnosis, and then chip down the Glimmora. As from there, I Hypnosis into the Glimmora. It switched out immediately into an Arceus Fairy. I go out to my Aerodactyl next to Iron Head into him, and it works out pretty well, as eventually made a flinch it and chip it down. His next Pokemon was going to be a Primo Dialga, which I go out to my Alakazam to Focus Blast into him. Leave him at a little bit of HP, which is nice, but it's going to heal up and then knock me out. From there, I go out to my Dragonite next, which he actually avoids, and go out to his Melmetal for some reason. So I go out into my Gengar, no reason here at all. Shadow Ball a little bit for chip damage, go out into my Golem to Headlong Rush and knock him out. And then from there, my Golem's getting face off against the Dragonite. I'm able to just chip it down with 2 different Rock Blasts to knock him out. And then from there, I get a Headlong Rush against the Dialga. Golem's doing a lot of work over here. As I go out to my Dragonite to knock him out with Dragon Rush, his next opponent is going to be a Rayquaza. Go for a Dragon Rush and chip him down to low HP. Go for Dragon Ascent. I have a Choice Scarf on, so I can't use Extreme Speed, so it's going to knock me out. But I do have my Zapdos in the back to knock him out and knock out the Glimmora as we beat down Lance and get ourselves into the spot of the Pokemon League. As from there, we're going to move on and face off against the champion of the game. We're going to face off against Champion Blue. We're going to start the battle off against Champion Blue using my Gengar. Hypnosis immediately, and then it stays asleep. So Gengar is doing his work. It stays asleep for 3 turns as we Shadow Ball into him, and then from there, he switched out to his Houndoom. I'm like, oh. So I just stayed in, sacrificed my Gengar, which is unfortunate. Go out into my Dragonite to Dragon Rush into him. And from there, I predicted the Xerneas coming out because I used the dragon move. I go out into my golem next to explosion and knock him out. Yeah, I rock blast and then explosion, which was kind of unneeded, but it's fine. From there, I go out to my Alakazam next. Alakazam's able to go for a psychic, chip his Arceus ground down a little bit, but then from there, go out to my Dragonite to Dragon Rush into him, survive an Ice Beam, and then from there, his next Pokemon will be a Koraidon. I go out into my Aerodactyl, which is gonna go for Dual Wing Beat against the Koraidon. He's gonna actually go for Swords Dance and then switch out to his Eternatus for some reason. Okay, I get a Dual Wing Beat off against him and then Rock Slide, chip him down a little bit, as for some reason he chips himself down with Dragon Barrage and then Rock Slide into him to knock him out, Rock Slide into the Houndoom to knock him out, and then Dual Wing Beat into the Koraidon, and we knock out Blue as we become the champions of the game with using Kanto Pokemon. Now, a lot of them were actually really good. Kanto Pokemon are really good Pokemon. They might be the first generation of Pokemon, but they stick to times. As from there, that will be it from me today. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name is Alpha, and I hope you guys all had a great day, and I'm out. Peace.